Back about a decade ago, when one of my favorite yogis, a guru that I visited often in India, this ashram, he came to California and he was spending time in the Bay Area with a family. And I got contacted by them and invited along on a journey just to drive around the Santa Cruz Mountains and around the Bay Area, up away from everybody. The guru was tired. He was totally exhausted. He'd been on a tour of Europe and the United States, and he'd done a bunch of workshops and everything else. And so he was kind of at the end of the journey for the summer, end of the year. And he was telling me about how low his energy was. He was just kind of dragging around. He hadn't been that low in a long time, but he was just about a year and a half older than I am, so I understood what he was talking about. You don't have the same energy and drive when you do in your 50s, let's say. But when you get to be in your 60s and 70s, it's a little bit more work. So I got invited along. We were driving with this family he was staying with, and they had a daughter and a son, and we were driving up into the Santa Cruz Mountains and decided to go to California's first state park, place called Basin Redwoods State Park. It's a beautiful place. They got 1,000-year-old, 2,000-year-old, 3,000-year-old trees that have been growing since before Jesus was born. Real beautiful trees. And so we went there, and the guru and I were talking again, and he went and got himself a tea, and I had some hot chocolate, and we were sitting on a bench right outside of this little general store by the ranger station. And he was telling me, he says, man, I got no energy. And all of a sudden I'm sitting there, and he has set the tea, the little paper cup in front of him on this wooden bench. And I'm watching it, and I'm looking at his eyes, and I see him seeing what I'm seeing. The cup actually levitated up about 6 inches, 8 inches off the surface, and then just poured itself onto his clothing, hot tea. And he goes, wow. And he says, that's my fault, Bill. He says, my energy is so low that the nature spirits have been after me a while, and they've been playing games with me, and they finally got me. They were able to get me with my energy down, and they poured the cup of tea on me. He says, we need to walk. I need to recharge. I need to get some more energy. And he wanted to walk amongst these giant redwood trees. And they have a real easy pathway there. It's less than a mile, about 3/4 of a mile long, and it's flat. And it's almost like tan bark or compost to walk on. It's real soft. So we're walking along there, and there's all these big trees, and finally we get to this tree called, I believe it's the mother to forest or something like that, the mother tree. And it's this big, huge tree that many, many decades ago, or long period of time ago, not sure how long ago, a fire had came in that area and it gutted the inside of the tree out. So the inside of the tree, there was this opening at the base of this tree. This tree must have been, you could probably take 40 people holding hands going around it. I mean, no exaggeration. It was a huge tree at the base, and it had this opening, and the opening was like a bigger than a doorway. It was tall, and you could go inside this room, what amounted to a room about the size of a bedroom, inside this tree itself. The tree was still alive. It was still, still functioning, but inside this thing was hollowed out, and it was like a cathedral, like a temple in there. It was very beautiful. And the guru went in there, and he asked for some moments of privacy, and he started meditating in this little hollowed out cave, redwood cave. You might call it a redwood cave. And we were outside. I had my back up against the tree, and other people were there. And all of a sudden, I look around, and I think I was the first to see it, but I already saw people staring, and it was like oxygen. You could see oxygen. You could touch oxygen. It was like liquid pouring into your lungs. It was alive. The oxygen, the air was alive. When you took a breath, you could almost feel movement of oxygen and air going into your lungs. It was enriched. I found myself being recharged and given this great amount of energy. It was like being on a ventilator with pure oxygen. It was the most unusual experience I've ever had in the Redwoods. And this went on for about 20 minutes while the guru was meditating inside this little room, this redwood temple. And then he come out and he kind of looked at me like, did you feel it? Did you sense it? And I'm going, wow. We all talked about it as we walked the last little bit out of the trail. The trail was just a big loop, came back to where we started, which ended up at the ranger station. And I felt so wonderful from that. And I could see the guru's steps were lighter and full of energy. When he first started that trail, he was dragging, he was lifeless. And coming out, he was just an energy beacon. It was like his battery's been totally recharged. And so we left there, we went up on top of the Skyline Boulevard overlooking Santa Cruz Mountains, and the sun was starting to go down, and he did Surya, and we did a prayer. And then he pulled out of his pocket a harmonica. and he started playing all these Christmas songs, all these, Western Christmas songs. And we were singing along, and he's playing his harmonica. It was a really beautiful, lighthearted experience. And I remember that. And I was telling some new friends that I've only known for 2 or 3 years about that experience and what tree it was at and about the redwoods and all that. And this was in about a decade later. And the summer of 2020 with the big fires coming to California, which at the time the thought had occurred to me they were coming, but it wasn't in the news. But I kept telling my friends, they lived in Santa Cruz, Los Gatos, San Jose, the Bay Area. I kept saying, go to this tree. It's the mother of the forest or something like that. And I showed them a map, told them how to get there. And they, yeah, well, we'll see it sometime. It's, it's just a park. It's always going to be there. And I said, no, go see it. I was insistent upon everybody going to see it. And all of them that I was insisting with eventually all saw it about a week before this major fire came. In fact, one of my friends, her and her daughter and son went, and they spent time inside there meditating and chanted and everything and took pictures. And she's probably got the last photos from inside that before the major fire that hit Santa Cruz Mountains in the summer of 2020 when I'm recording this. And the fire just wiped out the ranger station, wiped out the little food store where we got the tea, and devastate the campgrounds and all the structures, all the low bushes, other trees, and some redwoods. But the whole thing about this was there was this feeling, call it urgency, but I knew that these people had to go see that while they could. Because now it looks like the park will be closed for indefinitely till things grow back and it's not so ashy and everything else. So it's going to be a long time before the park reopens. But that just reminded me of the energy of that place. And somebody did report that even though it burned all around it and burned some of the inside again, that particular tree had survived. So that was kind of a special thing.